Uh, hello, hello everyone. My name is Abiodun Kayode, and I'm going to be giving you a brief summary on this article. Having read and understood this article, I feel I can illustrate the main points of the article to you very clearly. This article is titled "NASA Telescope Named for Mother of Hubble, Nancy Grace Roman," and it talks about this new telescope being created by NASA and being named in honor of Nancy Grace Roman. It's going to be called the Wide Field Infrared Survey Telescope. I will be discussing what this telescope is, who Nancy Grace Roman is, and why this telescope is being designed. So, what is the Wide Field Infrared Survey Telescope, or WFIRST for short? It's going to be NASA's new telescope that's going to act as a replacement for the famous Hubble telescope. Like the Hubble telescope, it's going to have a primary mirror that's 7.9 feet in diameter. But where it differs from the Hubble is in its design. As this telescope is designed with two main instruments, one of them being the wide field instrument, and the second being a technology demonstration coronagraph instrument, and this will allow it to investigate long-standing astronomical mysteries. Following her death in 2018, NASA decided to name this new telescope after Nancy Grace because it was her leadership and vision that led to the creation of the famous Hubble telescope. So to give you a little bit of history on Nancy Grace Roman, she was born in 1925 in Tennessee in 1925, where she grew up having an interest in science and astronomy in particular. But like many women growing up in that era, she was often she faced many challenges, and she was often discouraged from having interest in science. But she didn't let that stop her, as she got her bachelor's in astronomy in 1946 and a doctorate from the University of Chicago in 1949. And 10 years later, in 1959, she started as NASA's chief of astronomy and relativity, where she managed astronomy-related programs and grants. She knew that in order to answer questions that astronomers had at the time, they were going to have to build a telescope that could go into space, and she convinced NASA and Congress to launch the most powerful space telescope that there had ever been. And ultimately, this led to the creation of the Hubble telescope, which turned out to be the most scientifically revolutionary telescope of all time. And this earned her the title the Mother of Hubble Space Telescope. So, why? You may be asking yourself, why did they create this new telescope? Well, this new telescope is going to be an improvement to the Hubble telescope, and it's going to answer questions such as questions about dark energy, exoplanets, and infrared astrophysics. These are areas that the Hubble telescope failed to cover, and it's also going to answer questions such as the forces behind the expansion of the universe. So, in conclusion, this new telescope, the WFIRST telescope that's being created by NASA in honor of the one of the most important women in astronomy, Nancy Grace Roman, will be a replacement for the Hubble telescope and will act as an improvement, or will act as a telescope that improves upon what the Hubble telescope already was.